Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Okay, we have one in the room. Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming in. You're greatly appreciated. Woo, y'all. Like, I should not feel this way about doing a live or even about this topic. But one thing I know, as uncomfortable as this topic is for me, it must be the same. It has to be the same for others, as well as the family of Breonna Taylor. Some may say, "Why now, Aisha? Why did you wait until December the 29th to talk about her? What happened? What changed?" And in all actuality, today was the first day that I saw the visual simulation that the New York Times did of the night of the raid of her home. And I'm gonna start this live by saying we all have a past. We all came from somewhere. Some of us may have come from places better than others. Some of us may have not. Some of us may have experienced a little more than others. Some of us may have not. But one thing certain is everyone has a past. And unless you're perfect, there is something in your past that you are not proud of, or that could have led you down a different path. I looked at the simulation. I read several articles. I as a Black woman, and I have to say Black woman, and I was quick to say let's not bring color into this. It's not about color. But unfortunately for me, it is, because you see, it was only 5 months in one day between the time that Tatiana Jefferson was gunned down in her home, in the comfort of her home, by a police officer, to the day that Breonna Taylor was killed in her home. And it can easily be said, well, her boyfriend shot the police first. So what do you think? You shoot at the police, they're going to shoot back. Where does our Second Amendment come in at then? Or does the Second Amendment not apply to Black people? And this is the part that makes it hard for me. Hey, Nelcourt, and thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening. Does the Second Amendment not apply to Black people? And I'm just going to be honest. Does the Second Amendment mean that only white people can carry? Black people cannot carry? Does it mean that? And I'm asking because her boyfriend did exactly what anyone would do, protecting their home and not knowing that police officers were there. And there's been much discrepancy about police officers and them announcing themselves and saying that it's the police. Um, her boyfriend states that the knock woke her up. So for me, what I visualized for these last however many months is not even what actually happened. I visualized her being in her bed, but they actually got up, got out the bed, was walking towards the door, and still did not hear anyone announce themselves as the police. In the simulation by the New York Times, and I am going to show some of it, I'm not going to play the 911 call. One, it's hard to sit through, to hear this man, to hear this man want help, not know. You hear in his voice, I don't know what's happening. Send help. And no one ever says it's the police. How do you call 911? How do so many people, because even people in the apartment complex was calling 911, and 911 doesn't know that the police are there. Hi, Minister of Music Terrence. Hey, Motivate One. Y'all forgive me if I don't speak when people come in, because this is one of those things that I just got to get it out and get it off of me, because like the amount of research that I did today, yeah, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm sick of it, I'm tired of it. Like, there's not a thing I can say tonight that hasn't already been said. There's not a thing that I can say tonight that's going to change what has happened. There's not a thing that I can say tonight that's going to stop me from worrying when my daughter is out at night, or when my sons are not away, not at home, and not physically there for me to touch them. There's not a thing that I can say to make another Black parent feel like it's okay for our kids to be out in the street, just enjoying themselves like kids do. But when it's no longer the street, when it's your home, and you can't feel safe in your own home, that's a problem. That is a problem. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for letting that play. That is a problem. It's a serious problem. I'm always like, I even think about how I talk to my kids. My oldest is 24. Hurry up and get home. Watch your surroundings. Be careful. My boys, don't forget. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Remember what I taught you. But the truth of the matter is, these two women were killed in their home 5 months and 1 day apart by the people that are supposed to protect them. So there's nothing I can say. Lady Justice, where are you? There's nothing that I can say that will make anybody feel better about this. There's no amount of I'm sorries that can be brought out that will make us feel better about it, because she's gone. This beautiful girl who changed her life around, who is on this path to be an EMT, who did the things that she needed to do to get on the straight and narrow. Life is gone. $12 million settlement. Her boyfriend was treated like crap. Treated like crap. Even he stated, I didn't know that it was the police. I didn't know who it was. I knew somebody was coming in. I aimed low with the hopes of scaring whomever out of the house. He didn't want to kill anybody. He just wanted to protect his home. And like I said, I'm not gonna play the 911 call. It's out there. You guys know. So we're gonna start with the simulation of what occurred. Okay, I'm gonna start here first. This was just released yesterday, and I just saw it today. I don't really want the entire thing, but let's just start here.
Do not walk by yourself. This is our city. This is our town.
For months in Kentucky, residents outraged by the killing of Breonna Taylor campaigned for the police officers who shot her to face charges.
Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Brett Hankinson.
In September, a grand jury investigation indicted one officer for shooting into a neighboring apartment, and no one for killing Taylor.
It's the decision of the grand jury. I will grant the motion.
So I want to make sure you guys heard that correctly. They charged Officer Hankinson, whom they fired, for shooting into the neighboring apartment and basically shooting blindly. But nobody was charged for killing Breonna Taylor in her home. I just want to make sure you guys did hear that. The charge that was placed on one officer was for blindly shooting, recklessly shooting. But no one was charged for killing Breonna Taylor.
And assign bond in the amount of $15,000 for cash and issue a warrant.
Is that the only charge? It can't be. It can't be.
No one has been held accountable. This is injustice, and this is the start clock for the next level of our protest.
What happened in the final minutes of Breonna Taylor's life? A full telling of that story has been impeded because none of the 7 police officers who raided her apartment used body cameras, a violation of police policy. But with the recent release of thousands of documents and images collected during 3 investigations, the Times initiated a fresh examination of the case. We used crime scene photos to create a precise model of Taylor's apartment. We forensically mapped out and retraced the first bullet fired by Taylor's boyfriend and the 32 bullets that police shot in return through windows, walls, and ceilings.
Just want to make sure you guys did hear that they did not have a body cam, which is in violation of police policy. There was not a body cam. And I'm going to keep stopping in between simply because this is Fair Use Act. I am using the New York Times documentary. And so therefore I have to pause and give commentary in between. And truthfully, it's kind of one of the best things that I could do right now to ensure that I too am not fully overwhelmed by this video.
Using interviews officers gave to investigators, we charted their movements as they carried out the raid. And we analyzed hours of 911 calls, grand jury proceedings, and footage by the SWAT raid. And we...
All right, let's look at this. We have Detective Hankinson. He's the one that was charged for blindly shooting. We have Lieutenant Hoover, Detective Cosgrove, Detective Nobles, Sergeant Mattingly, and let's see,
we analyzed hours of...
I didn't get the name of the other officer.
Calls, grand jury proceedings, and footage by the SWAT team that arrived after the shooting. Members of the grand jury have accused Kentucky's Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, of shielding the officers involved from homicide charges.
Our investigation found that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in their use of force.
Boom, 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 boom.
Sergeant Mattingly may have been justified in returning fire when he's fired upon, but our new analysis paints a more complicated picture about how this raid was compromised from beginning to end.
Just want to make sure that you guys caught that Sergeant Mattingly may have been justified in returning fire, but the whole thing was botched from beginning to end. So, meaning basically, because he's an officer and he was fired upon, he was justified to fire back, which is concerning if the individual doesn't know that that's a police officer. And I can't do the 911 call again. But if you go to the 911 call, you would know that that young man did not know that that was a police officer.
We'll outline the flawed intelligence and tactical mistakes of a hodgepodge team of officers, their failure to properly announce their presence at Taylor's, the chaos and excessive use of force that ensued,
Okay, there's another whole word below the clock.
and we'll explore the damning analysis of an experienced SWAT commander who was called to the scene after the shooting.
We just got the feeling that night that something really bad happened.
The focus of the police investigation on March 13th is not Taylor's apartment, but properties 10 miles away in West Louisville,
Local Metro Police,
Hands behind your back, boss.
we're executing a search warrant. Come out.
where dozens of SWAT and police officers arrest an ex-boyfriend of Taylor's and his associates and seize evidence including drugs. These officers are wearing their body cameras, and they carry out the raid safely and without incident. What the SWAT team doesn't know is that at this time, a hastily assembled team of narcotics officers is about to raid Taylor's home across town. They suspect her ex-boyfriend keeps cash or drugs there, but their intel is poor. They don't know she has a new boyfriend, and they think she lives alone. When 7 officers begin the raid at 12:40 a.m., they notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom.
I want to make sure you guys caught the poor intel that they were told that she kept drugs there and that she lived alone. So if that's the poor intel that they have, why did they need that many people to go to a woman's home, one woman, if all they're looking for is drugs and the other suspect is in custody? And again, your intel, your poor intel, tells you that there may be drugs there and she lives alone. So if she lives alone, why would you even execute a warrant with men? Can anybody point out a female officer to me going to a woman's home? No female officer. She lives alone. Nobody sees anything wrong with that. They did not find any drugs in her home. None. But still, let's address the fact of what the intel stated. The poor intel stated there was drugs in her home and that she lived alone. So we got 6 or 7 men going to one woman's house in the middle of the night. Where was the female officer? Yeah, it's okay. It'll be stated in here. Where was the female officer? I'm sorry. I want y'all to hear this again.
Officers is about to raid Taylor's home across town. They suspect her ex-boyfriend keeps cash or drugs there, but their intel is poor. They don't know she has a new boyfriend, and they think she lives alone.
They think she lives alone. Am I wrong for just hanging my hat right there? They think she lives alone. Where is the female officers? Why 6, 7 male officers in the middle of the night simply to locate drugs? Let's just say she had drugs, although she didn't. She didn't. But in the middle of the night, all men going to a woman's home.
When 7 officers begin the raid at 12:40 a.m., they notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom.
The light on the bedroom, the TV. I remember seeing it lit up blue when we pulled up.
Suggesting they know where Taylor is. In less than 3 minutes, she would be fatally shot. Inside, Taylor had dozed off while watching a movie with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Adjacent is the bedroom of Taylor's sister, but she's not home. A hallway from the bedrooms leads to a living area, and the apartment's entrance is in this breezeway. The only light is this lamp opposite her door, where now the police begin to stack. In this reconstruction, we hear the official testimonies given by the 2 officers nearest the door, Mattingly and Nobles, Cosgrove, who's providing cover, and Hoover and Hankinson beside them. And we'll hear from neighbours and Kenneth Walker, who was interviewed by police right after the shooting.
When we all got up in line, I knocked on the door, banged on it.
Just as Mattingly begins to knock, a man emerges from the apartment directly above. He doesn't live there, but is picking up his child after finishing work.
The door right there, that's why they babysit on me, so I can go pick up my little girl.
A squabble with Detective Brett Hankinson ensues, and already the team seems on edge.
I remember Brett extending his gun saying, "Get back in your apartment, get back in your apartment." Brett was a little bit worked up. I remember looking at Brett saying, "Brett, relax. Brett, just relax, relax."
The man retreats inside.
Why so many officers for a female? Exactly. Let's talk about this man. And it's important that we talk about this witness, because this witness statement isn't reliable. It wasn't reliable for the grand jury. And rightfully so. This is a man who walked out picking up his daughter in the middle of the night, or child. I can't even remember. I think he said his daughter, in the middle of the night, just getting off work, picking child up from the babysitter. Imagine the fear that he has seeing the officers, and then for an officer to point a gun at him, and all he's doing is walking out of the babysitter's house with his daughter or child. I'm sorry, because with his child. And so at one point he said he did not hear police announce themselves, which makes sense because he wouldn't have walked out the door. Can you imagine if they were beating and banging the way that they say they were, and yelling police, why would that man walk out the door with his child? Why? That doesn't make sense. So his testimony to me shouldn't be reliable, because fight or flight, protect my child, so many things are going through his mind at that time, I'm sure, seeing all these officers. And again, why so many for one female? And the other thing is, why do I continue to hear 7, but I only hear them talking about 6? Exactly. He wouldn't have. Your instinct would have been to protect your child. So you would have peeked out the door. You probably would have looked out of the window, peeped out the peephole, but you weren't just going to straight full body walk out of a door like that if you hear all type of banging and this is the police. You wouldn't.
The police are supposed to be conducting a knock and announce raid, but that's not what Mattingly says happens at first.
We didn't announce the first couple because our intent was to give her plenty of time to come to the door.
Inside, Taylor wakes up
So it's a loud bang at the door.
Let's be careful. I just want to make sure that I was not the only one that heard in the early parts of this that this was a no knock warrant. Did anybody else? Does anybody else remember hearing that? They continued to yell, it was a no knock warrant. It was a no knock warrant. And I remember that because I remember thinking, we're going about this the wrong way. We got to get the law changed. We got to get the law changed. Hey, my Kimmy, thank you for coming in. Okay. We can do this.
But she pops up out of sleep and scared her to death. Me too. Like, who is that?
Banged on the door, no response. Banged on it again, no response. At that point, she started announcing herself.
Whether the police announced themselves clearly enough is a critical issue in this story that we'll return to later on. Not knowing who's at the door this late, Walker grabs his licensed handgun.
Another knock at the door. She's like, who is it? Loud at the top of her lungs. No response. So I'm like, what the heck?
They rush to get dressed and walk toward the door.
Never even made it like mid-hallway. But as loud as we were screaming to say who it is, I know whoever would be on the other side of the door could hear us.
Outside, some of the police do hear Taylor.
I can hear somebody inside. I can tell you, I can hear her.
But after knocking and waiting for around 45 seconds, they decided they've given her enough time to respond and rammed the door open.
The last time, I just said, let's just hit it. And that's when we did the police search warrant.
We'll show.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go through this whole thing. A no knock warrant is legal in that area. Was legal. In June, the city, June the 11th, the city did away with that, so you can no longer get a no knock warrant. So that's not something that they can get. 45 seconds. What the hell? Exactly. So keep in mind, one of the officers said they did hear her. Did you guys catch that? They did hear her. If they heard her, what was the purpose of them breaking into her home when their intel tells them she lives alone? Why?
Go hear what the police and Walker described seeing next.
And I hit it. After the third hit, it flew open. And that's when it hit the fan.
Fast.
Sorry, y'all.
Like an explosion.
The officers now make a tactical.
I'm sorry. Dropped my water. But you guys can see how this has me real. Yeah. I'm going to take it back a little bit.
And I hit it. After the third hit, it flew open. And that's when it hit the fan.
Comes off the hinges like an explosion.
The officers now make a tactical mistake. Mattingly steps into the doorway and puts himself in what police describe as the fatal funnel, a position vulnerable to gunfire and hard to move from.
I could see down the hallway, and there's a male and a female side by side, shoulder to shoulder, almost like they were together.
The apartment is lit only by the breezeway light that's coming from behind Mattingly.
I'm sorry.
And the faint glare of the TV in Taylor's bedroom.
You can't see anybody, though. It was dark. There was no lights.
Thinking it's an intruder, Walker aims low, shoots once, and hits Mattingly in the thigh.
I feel like I aimed down because I wasn't. Of course, I don't need to kill anybody, so I just let off one shot.
Mattingly immediately returns fire.
I got 4 rounds off, and it was like boom, 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 boom.
Then all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of shots.
Mattingly fires 2 more rounds when he falls and takes cover. Almost at the same time, Cosgrove moves in and fires, stepping on Mattingly in the process. He has now also put himself in the fatal funnel, and although he's shooting, he appears to have no idea what's happening.
I see blinding, vivid white light and blackness at the same time. I don't hear any gunfire at all ever, and I did not have any pain sensation or any recollection that I'm firing.
He continues shooting blindly until he runs out of ammunition, a total of 16 rounds.
If you told me I didn't fire a gun, I'd be like, okay, I believe you.
In response to Walker's shot, Mattingly and Cosgrove together fire 4 shots into a chair, cupboards, and a stove in the kitchen. 2 bullets go into the ceiling and pass through the living room in the apartment above, where the man, his 2-year-old daughter, and babysitter waited. 3 more shots go into the living room wall to the right, and the officers fire 13 rounds down the hallway where Taylor and Walker stood. Taylor is shot 6 times on both sides of her body, in the abdomen and chest, her arm and leg, and twice in her foot. In all, these 2 officers fired 22 rounds in less than a minute. An FBI ballistics report found that both of them shot Taylor, and that one of the 16 rounds Cosgrove fired was the lethal bullet.
We both dropped to the ground, but I just hear her screaming.
Thinking they're under attack, some of the officers flee when they hear a pause in shooting.
There was a little bitty moment of no shots. I was like, here's the time to go, and then it all started up again.
We don't know the precise sequence of events, but Detective Hankinson runs to the front.
I can hear the firing as I'm making the corner. I can see the flashes, the muzzle flashes.
But the only ones shooting are police. Even though all the curtains are drawn, Hankinson blindly fires 5 bullets through the patio windows.
My only option was to turn fire, and I did that to the muzzle flashes.
He moves and fires 5 more rounds through the bedroom window of Taylor's sister, who isn't home. 2 bullets fly over Walker and Taylor, but none hits them. The bullets that go into the living area pass over Taylor's sofa and kitchen table and smash her clock. 3 penetrate the wall and enter her neighbor's apartment. Those bullets also smash the kitchen table, hit a wall, and shatter the patio doors at the rear. A pregnant woman, her son, and partner were home. Hankinson has been charged with wantonly endangering their lives.
Let's talk about this. I'm sorry. We're going to take a pause here. It would take anyone more than that to get to the door, especially in the middle of the night. Exactly. The police did hear that she was located in the house. The police heard her where she was located in the house. I appreciate that you have put this on because I have no one to discuss this with. So mad that they had this warrant. What? Okay. Again, I apologize for the water falling. Y'all, I've literally been shaking. And that's kind of why I stay away from this as far as reporting on it, because sometimes it consumes me way too much. But let's talk about Officer Hankinson. I'm gonna actually rewind it because I want you guys to hear. He's the officer that shot blindly into the home because all of the curtains were drawn.
Wasn't shooting.
There was a little bitty moment of no shots. I was like, here's the time to go, and then it all started up again.
We don't know the precise sequence of events, but Detective Hankinson runs to the front.
I can hear the firing as I'm making the corner. I can see the flashes, the muzzle flashes.
But the only ones shooting are police. Even though all the curtains are drawn, Hankinson blindly fires 5 bullets through the patio windows.
My only option was to turn fire, and I did that to the muzzle flashes.
He moves and fires 5 more rounds through the bedroom window of Taylor's sister, who isn't home. 2 bullets fly over Walker and Taylor, but none hits them. The bullets that go into the living area pass over Taylor's sofa and kitchen table and smash her clock. 3 penetrate the wall and enter her neighbor's apartment. Those bullets also smash the kitchen table, hit a wall, and shatter the patio doors at the rear. A pregnant woman, her son, and partner were home. Hankinson has been charged with wantonly endangering their lives.
May God help their souls, the police. They could have hurt way more persons just for drugs. Exactly. I still can't believe these officers haven't been taken to prison. Shaking my head. So we heard that. I'll take it back just a little bit.
Turn fire, and I did that to the muzzle flashes.
He moves and fires 5 more rounds through the bedroom window of Taylor's sister, who isn't home. 2 bullets fly over Walker and Taylor, but none hits them. The bullets that go into the living area pass over Taylor's sofa and kitchen table and smash her clock. 3 penetrate the wall and enter her neighbor's apartment. Those bullets also smash the kitchen table, hit a wall, and shatter the patio doors at the rear. A pregnant woman, her son, and partner were home. Hankinson has been charged with wantonly endangering their lives.
So Hankinson has been charged with endangering their lives. I'm gonna go back. Let's see here. Go grabs his license. So did they give her enough time to respond?
Tactical mistake. Mattingly steps into the doorway and puts himself in what police describe as the fatal funnel, a position vulnerable to gunfire and hard to move from.
I could see down the hallway, there's a male and a female side by side, shoulder to shoulder, almost like they were together.
The apartment is lit only by the breezeway light that's coming from behind Mattingly and the faint glare of the TV in Taylor's bedroom.
You can't see anybody, though. It was dark. There was no lights.
Thinking it's an intruder, Walker aims low, shoots once, and hits Mattingly in the thigh.
I feel like I aimed down because I wasn't, of course, I don't need to kill anybody. So I just let off one shot.
Mattingly immediately returns fire.
I got 4 rounds off, and it was like boom, 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 boom.
Then all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of shots.
Mattingly fires 2 more rounds when he falls and takes cover. Almost at the same time, Cosgrove moves in and fires, stepping on Mattingly in the process. He has now also put himself in the fatal funnel, and although he's shooting, he appears to have no idea what's happening.
I see blinding, vivid white light and blackness at the same time. I don't hear any gunfire at all ever, and I did not have any pain sensation or any recollection that I'm firing.
He continues shooting blindly until he runs out of ammunition, a total of 16 rounds.
If you told me I didn't fire a gun, I'd be like, okay, I believe you.
In response to Walker's shot, Mattingly and Cosgrove together fire 4 shots into a chair, cupboards, and a stove in the kitchen. 2 bullets go into the ceiling and pass through the living room in the apartment above, where the man, his 2-year-old daughter, and babysitter waited.
Why was no one charged for the 2 bullets that went upstairs and passed through where the man, his child, and the babysitter waited? Yeah. Why? What's the difference between what Sergeant Mattingly and Cosgrove did in Hankinson? Why is Hankinson only charged for shooting blindly, but Cosgrove clearly states that he didn't even realize he was shooting? That's what he said. So why does Hankinson get charged for the bullets that went through the patio and blindly went through the other side, but no one is being charged for the bullets that went upstairs where the child, the man, and the babysitter were.
Rounds Cosgrove fired was the lethal bullet.
We both dropped to the ground, but I just hear her screaming, and
Thinking they're under attack, some of the officers flee when they hear a pause in shooting.
There was a little bitty moment of no shots. I was like, here's the time to go, and then it all stopped.
Of Taylor's sister. They hit saucepans, cereal boxes, and smash into her shower. They puncture shoes, shatter cleaning equipment, and land in her sister's clothing. And 3 minutes after police came to search her home, a fatally wounded Taylor is lying on the ground.
I'm just panicking and I'm telling somebody, I'm yelling help because she's right here bleeding and nobody's coming, and I'm just confused and scared, and I feel the same right now. That's it.
Months later, when Attorney General Daniel Cameron presented the charges against Hankison and said that Mattingly and Cosgrove's actions were justified, he emphasized that police did properly announce themselves.
Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment.
But actually, the evidence is far from clear. In 911 calls immediately after the shooting, Taylor's neighbors don't know police are carrying out a raid.
Please get an police out here. They are shooting bad. Something's going on next door, and there's bullet holes all the way through the wall, through our glass. I have a 5-year-old in here, so something needs to be explained to me.
And in statements...
I'm gonna rewind this. I'm just gonna see if y'all catch what my concern.
But actually, the evidence is far from clear. In 911 calls immediately after the shooting, Taylor's neighbors don't know police are carrying out a raid.
Please get an police out here. They are shooting bad. Something's going on next door, and there's bullet holes all the way through the wall, through our glass. I have a 5-year-old in here, so something needs to be explained to me.
And in statements police took afterwards, none of Taylor's neighbors heard the officers announce. This apartment's patio door was open.
I mean, I was completely unaware that it was cops.
2 teenagers in this apartment heard a commotion, but didn't hear police announce through their open window, their mom said.
They told me that nothing was said, that they just beat on the door. I said, so y'all don't know if it was them? She was like, they didn't say that. They just beat on the door.
And the family who lived directly above Taylor also heard nothing.
Before the gunshots come out, did you hear anything?
Conversations or anything like that? People talking? No.
In their...
Did anybody catch what I just caught? Which means he was so scared that he does not even know that he shot a full clip of bullets. Why doesn't this article explain why? And they are supposed to be trained. Miss Taylor didn't deserve what happened to her. Absolutely not. Officer Hankinson was charged for shooting recklessly. What did you hear, Nell Court? What did you hear? Why isn't Crossgrove or Mattingly charged for shooting bullets in the apartment upstairs? But Hankinson is charged for recklessly shooting bullets that went through her apartment to her next door neighbor, to the next door neighbors. Anybody? Now, of course, says yes. I'll state the obvious. They're white. The people upstairs were black. Why was no one charged for the reckless endangerment of the people upstairs as well? We hadn't even got to Taylor yet. The article needs to include why other officers were not charged on no announcements and other shots into the home. Absolutely. The police just started knocking Breonna's door and didn't announce a raid. Absolutely. But did you also catch that Hankinson was charged for blindly shooting? And I went back. Mattingly and Crossgrove put off shots that went through the ceiling to where the man, his child, and the sitter were. They were black. The other family is white.
Their statements and in interviews with the Times, over a dozen neighbours say they did not hear the police. Attorney General Cameron's assertion rests on the accounts of police officers and a single witness, Aaron Sarpy, the man collecting his daughter that night and who saw the police when he came outside. In his first interview with investigators, Sarpy was asked what he heard when he went back inside.
Did you ever hear anyone identify themselves as police? No, nobody identified themselves.
Months later, he told police his memory was foggy, but that he thought officers did announce. And beyond what the police said,
Hi, Isha mods, everybody. Breonna Taylor. There's a beautiful spray painting in honor of her on the inside wall of bridge on I-76 in Philadelphia, just above a whole lake body of water. Yeah. So the black are safe and the white people aren't? You tell me. I don't know. Officer Hankinson got charged for recklessly shooting and his bullet passing through that home and endangering that white family. But nobody was charged for the 2 bullets that came from Crossgrove and Mattingly that went into the home that contained a black man, his child, and a sitter. And I don't know the sitter's color. And I'm gonna go back to this. Today's thumbnail was one of the hardest, literally, I've ever created. And part of it was because there's so many beautiful murals and drawings of her that people have done. If you just Google her name in art, so many artists have made beautiful photos of her, pictures, paintings of her. And some of them are so lifelike. But I'm tired of murals. I'm tired of people being painted on the side of buildings. I'm tired of beautiful swagged out sweatshirts, t-shirts. Tired of saying no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. The fact that it was 5 months in one day, like, help me 5 months in one day from when Tatiana Jefferson was shot in her home. Another Black woman by one police officer. And here you have intel that tells you she lives alone, and you sent 7 men to her home in the middle of the night with intel that says she lives alone. Does anyone not see a problem with that? This is why I'm here. I am trying to figure out how we change this. Yeah. Because I've waited my whole life. Yeah. It's horrible. Yeah. I'm tired of it. Like, you're not safe in your home. Let's finish. Keep in mind, initially he said no. And his initial answer was the right answer, because that man would not have walked out that house with his daughter. But later he said his memory was foggy. I'm certain it's foggy. And you're questioning yourself after you've heard many things, seen many things. Not to mention, this very night, her boyfriend was arrested. He was arrested. Like, this is him during interrogation. So does the Second Amendment right to carry not apply to Black people?
Did you ever hear anyone identify themselves as police? No, nobody identified himself.
Months later, he told police his memory was foggy, but that he thought officers did announce. And beyond what the police said, this critical grand jury conclusion rested on his entirely inconsistent account.
Now, my question is, why did it rest on that? Because we know for sure that a no knock, no announce warrant was signed. So why is it inconsistent? Regardless, that was the warrant that was signed. So even if police are saying that they did announce themselves, they still did something wrong. Still did something wrong. Still broke policy. Still broke protocol. That's it. Not safe in home. Not safe in hoodie. It seems it doesn't apply to us, just other races. Exactly. And I have the right to bear arms in my home. I have the right to feel safe in my home. He heard her. He said he heard her. If you heard her, why the rest? And then you have an officer that's already anxious, and you saw the angst, and you didn't say, hey, maybe you should go on back to the car. That didn't cross your mind.
After the raid, the scene outside is chaos. Officers tend to Mattingly, but an ambulance that had been staging nearby is nowhere to be found.
Somebody give me the radio SWAT on it.
They radio the SWAT officers across town.
EMS on.
We're surprised by the call.
For Springfield. They're requesting armor down there. We're going to go ahead and take it. Let's go.
They head for Taylor's address.
Did anybody catch that they radioed SWAT on the other end of town? So you mean to tell me SWAT didn't radio them to tell them we have the suspect in custody? Because keep in mind, intel says she lives alone. She lives alone. Now, unless she's Catalina and can slip and slide through cracks and crevices and scale buildings, she's a woman. She lives alone. And 7 men went to her house in the middle of the night. That's a problem. Not to mention, she's dead. She's no longer with us at the hands of these men. But do we not even see these steps up to her? There are so many things that's wrong before she's ever shot, that had those things been dealt with, she may still be here. In our town, it has something to do with where we live and how much education we have. You know, yeah. Police don't trust intel. That's a good question. What was the purpose of the intel if you carried on in this manner?
A SWAT arrives. Close to 40 police vehicles are
Sorry.
already at the scene.
Let's go back to see what he just said.
They head for Taylor's address. A SWAT arrives. Close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on, we need to look at.
Close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on, we need to look at.
A SWAT arrives. Close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on.
I played it 3 times. Did anybody catch what was said to him? Yeah. So now, court, here's where it's not systemic. I'm going to play it again. And I want y'all to listen real carefully to this.
Time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking.
Close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking.
Close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on.
SWAT arrives. Close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards.
That didn't sound systemic to me. How many people does it take to deal with one Black woman? Yes. Was speechless of all the speculations leading to the cause of her demise, even more so in awe of impact that will create the depth of bravery to keep her name and awareness thereof relevant. Sounds like they told him to shut up. Listen one more time, Bronco, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what they said.
Vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards.
Have you been hit by a bullet? Says the officer. No, says Walker. That's unfortunate, says officer. Gonna play it again for you.
Vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on, we need you.
I don't know if that's systemic or if that's just a person with a bad heart. Have you been hit by a bullet? No, that's unfortunate.
Hey, Lucas, there might be a victim inside. Keep walking backward. You're scared, right? Walk back. Keep walking backward. You're scared, right?
You're scared, right? Keep walking backwards. I'm scared. You're scared, right? Keep walking backwards. I'm scared. You're scared, right? Does a black man not have the right to be afraid?
Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on, we need you.
Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on, we need you. Lucas, there might be a victim inside. Keep walking backwards. You're scared, right? Walk back, I don't send this down. Walk back to me.
Walker had called 911, and neighbors had heard his pleas for help.
You want to fucking pray? That's what's going on.
But at 1 a.m., almost 20 minutes after the shooting, the police still don't know Taylor is critically injured inside.
There's somebody in there dead? Yeah, my girlfriend. It's her house. We have to go in if there's somebody. Yeah. What is this about? My girlfriend is dead. I don't get. Keep walking.
As Walker is being led out, SWAT gets ready to secure the apartment.
Yeah, that's a heart problem. Like, listen to them. So we can talk about the systemic issues and we can talk about the law, but watch their faces. I'm going to rewind it one more time. Listen to them. They have already dehumanized this man. This man is not a man. He is something with superpowers, almost like this foreign alien type of something, but he is not a human being in the sight of these people. He is not someone that should be treated with any type of integrity, any type of dignity, any type of respect. He's not. Just watch it. The man says, I'm scared.
Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backwards. Hey, come on, we need you. Lucas, there might be a victim inside. Keep walking backward. You're scared, right? Walk back, I will send this down. Walk back to me.
Walker had called 911 and neighbors had heard his pleas for help.
You want to fucking prison, that's what's going on.
But at 1 a.m., almost 20 minutes after the shooting, the police still don't know Taylor is critically injured inside.
There's somebody in there dead? Yeah, my girlfriend. It's her house. We have to go in. There's somebody.
How the fuck do you have that many police officers? How are we 20 minutes into this and they don't know that somebody is in the house dead? How? 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 Yeah, it is heartbreaking. But sometimes we got to break it down like this just so to catch the attention of somebody who says they're scared. Her boyfriend, the guy who was in the house with her, the guy that was spending the night, the guy that bared arm, who had a legal licensed weapon, and he didn't know police were in. He's thinking he's protecting his girlfriend because they didn't announce that they were the police. They were just banging on the door. The police officer said he heard her say, "Who is it?" Here's the other thing. The boyfriend said, she said, "Who is it?" The boyfriend said, "This is, Lord help me." The boyfriend said, "This is my girlfriend's house." The boyfriend said that she started screaming to the top of her lungs, "Who is it?" So that says to me, that's her home. He spent the night, but that's her home. Because if he felt in any way as if it was his home, it would have been him that said, "Who is it?" So you're that anxious and that ready to just let things go, and it's a woman in the house, and you know it's a woman in the house. Because they aren't allowed to talk about what they did for fear of being put on trial. Are we talking about the officers? Because I want you to pay close attention when these officers are instructed to turn off their body cams.
As Walker is being led out, SWAT gets ready to secure the apartment.
Hey, there's a kid upstairs. There's a kid upstairs, little kid. Might be a victim inside.
Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
He's been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backward. Hey, come on, we need to look, because there might be a victim inside. Keep walking backward. You're scared, right? Walk back, I will send this down. Walk back to me.
Walker had called 911 and neighbors had heard his pleas for help.
You want to fucking prison, that's what's going on.
But at 1 a.m., almost 20 minutes after the shooting, the police still don't know Taylor is critically injured inside.
There's somebody in there dead? Yeah, my girlfriend. It's her house. We have to go in. There's somebody. Yeah. What is this about? My girlfriend is.
Can we go in? I'm sorry.
Initiated a fresh examination of the case. We used crime scene photos to create a precise model of Taylor's apartment. Shots in.
I'm sorry. Listen to this. Listen extremely closely.
Police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
He's been hit by a bullet. Keep walking backward. Hey, come on, we need to look, because there might be a victim inside. Keep walking backward. You're scared, right? Walk back or I'll send this gun.
I want y'all to pay attention to something that I'm about to point out too. Do you see that, and I could be wrong, but that looks like that's a step. It doesn't look like it goes straight up. And I could be looking at it completely wrong, but that looks like you have to step up the curb. So I can understand him being scared, because if he trips, one, scared, period, by everything that happened. But if he trips, if he makes one wrong move, he's dead. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
Keep walking backward. You're scared, right? Walk back or I'll send this gun. Walk back to me.
Walker had called 911, and neighbors had heard his pleas for help.
You want to fucking prison? That's what's going on.
But at 1 a.m., almost 20 minutes after the shooting, the police still don't know Taylor is critically injured inside.
There's somebody in there dead? Yeah, my girlfriend. It's her house. We have to go in if there's somebody.
Yeah. Can we go in? Can we go in? We have to go in if there's someone in there dead. Can we go in? We have to go in if there's someone in there dead. Can we go in? This is the officer. We have to go in if there's someone in there dead. Can we go in? We have to go in if there's someone in there dead. Can we go in? We have to go in if there's someone in there that's dead. Can we go in? We have to go in there if someone is dead. Why did they have a warrant? Why did they tear down the door if they needed permission to go in the house? Can we go in? We have to go in if there's someone in there dead. When shots are fired, the officers, automatically shut up. 3 steps. Facts. Aisha, I cannot describe the challenge I had already faced in Philly with my oversized truck and a 53-inch trailer. Finally, after my work there and making my way to I-76 to see this memorial.
What is this about?
What is this about? My girlfriend is dead, and all they can say to him is, "You're going to prison."
Keep walking.
I don't give up. Keep walking. My girlfriend is dead. I don't give a. Keep walking. Is this? I think we. That's a people issue. That's not a systemic issue. They're not treating him like a human being. They're treating him like he's an animal. The fact that they've said, "You're scared," yeah, right. Why wouldn't he be scared? What human being wouldn't be scared? Oh, Black men can't be scared. They can't be afraid. Is that it?
SWAT gets ready to secure the apartment.
Hey, there's a kid upstairs. He's not. There's a kid upstairs, little kid. What the? Hey, front door. Yeah. Moving. Short. Clear. Looks like clear. Go ahead, get EMS in here. You check your pulse.
Only now, half an hour after the raid began, does an EMT finally check Taylor.
Yeah, right there.
And later, as 2 officers stand guard, they take in the scene. They see Taylor's uniform. She worked as an emergency room technician in city hospitals. They note the bullet hole. Scene. They see Taylor's uniform. Scene. They
silently points. EMT. Oh shit. We've messed up.
See Taylor's uniform.
We've messed up.
She worked as an emergency room technician in city hospitals.
Did you catch his breath? Let's take it back just a tad.
Only now, half an hour after the raid began, does an EMT finally check Taylor. And later, as two officers stand guard,
look at his face.
They see Taylor's uniform. She worked as an emergency.
Did you see his face? Then, and only then, were they no longer, or was she no longer this monster or this she was one of theirs. One second.
And later, as two officers stand guard.
Because of the closed caption, you can't see.
They take it in the scene. They
see her uniform.
See Taylor's uniform.
It's cloudy, but the way he turns around in disbelief.
She worked as an emergency room technician in city hospitals.
Takes a deep breath.
They note the bullet holes.
Body level. Hey, can anybody advise that we talk to the neighbors directly of this apartment? There's gunshot holes in the ceiling.
Outside, the SWAT officers debrief on what they've seen.
Hey, camera's off there, back here.
Yeah, mine's off. This is the fucking one that said that it is today.
Body level. Hey, can anybody advise that we talk to the neighbors directly of this apartment? There's gunshot holes in the ceiling.
Outside, the SWAT officers debrief on what they've seen.
Hey, camera's off there, back here.
Yeah, mine's off.
Officer debriefs. Cameras off, everybody. Did y'all catch that? Yes. Mine's off. Why are your cameras off? Why are you debriefing? Why? And we're still waiting on real justice. They did not have to break the door down. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. A sensation I cannot describe. You're back on in Breonna Taylor's demise is the topic. They think just because he's black, they think just because he's black, he doesn't supposed to be scared. But son, I want you to know that it's okay to be afraid, okay? It's okay. Yes, his face changed. It was then he realized she's one of us. Not necessarily the fact that she's a police officer, but she's a civil servant. She helps people. She saves lives. I'm not sure of what the grand jury asked or didn't ask. What I do know is the grand jury wasn't even provided all of the information that was needed. They weren't even told all of the charges that they could charge the officers with. Yeah. One more time.
They see Taylor's uniform. She worked as an emergency room technician in city hospitals. They note the bullet holes.
Hey, can anybody advise if we talk to the neighbors directly at this apartment? There's gunshot holes and ceiling.
Outside, the SWAT officers debrief on what they've seen.
Hey, camera's off there, Biker.
Yeah, mine's off. This is the fucking one that said they didn't hear us today.
The SWAT commander who was called to Taylor's home after the raid.
I just caught that. I'm sorry.
Neighbors directly at this apartment. There's gunshot holes and ceiling.
Outside, the SWAT officers debrief on what they've seen.
Hey, camera's off there, Biker.
Yeah, mine's off. This is the fucking one that said they didn't hear us today.
This is the effing one they said they didn't need us to do. This is the effing one they said they didn't need us to do. This is the effing one they said they didn't need us to do. Why the hell were they there? Why? Why were they there? Hypothetically, if she hadn't been one of them, would they have changed the warrant law? No, has nothing to do with the warrant law at all. At this point, I'm beyond the warrant law. At this point, I'm actually looking at individuals and how individuals are handling Mr. Walker, how individuals are handling this situation, how you just saw that there was a woman cop, right? You just saw that there was a woman cop because that woman cop just took that black man, the white woman cop just took that black man to the car, shoved him up as he's saying, my girlfriend is murdered and I don't give up, and caught herself. Why did 7 men go to this woman's house with intel that a woman lives there alone? Why? I don't want to get nor go too deep, but I believe that every intention for distraction is opportunity to acknowledge unjust dilemmas. I don't know that this is an unjust dilemma. I don't know. Again, we're talking 5 months in one day. Did we not learn anything from Texas when Atati, like, did that not even cross their mind? Like, it. If and so I'm getting frustrated because my words aren't coming out. Calm down. If this is a systemic issue, why doesn't every police force in the state address it in the United States, address issues when they happen? Example, Tatiana Jefferson. So there should have been some type of training put out to every police office, every police station in these United States of America. There's no reason, because just 5 months and 1 day later, a woman was shot in her home, innocent woman, that 7 men should have been going to a woman's house who lives alone to execute a warrant in the middle of the night. They went to have fun. They went to scare her. Let's call it what it is. They went to scare her. They went to do the stuff that they do in the middle of the night. We're almost done. 3 minutes.
The SWAT commander.
Hold on. Matter of fact, I want to make sure y'all hear that one more time.
Outside, the SWAT officers debrief on what they've seen.
Hey, camera's off there, Biker.
Yeah, mine's off. This is the fucking one that said they didn't hear us today.
This is the expletive effing one they said they didn't need us to do. Cameras off.
The SWAT commander who was called to Taylor's home after the raid was later interviewed by investigators.
We just got the feeling that night that something really bad happened.
Dale Massey, a 20-year police veteran, was highly critical of what unfolded. He said there was no coordination with SWAT.
We had no idea they were going to be at that apartment that night. I would have advised them 100% not to do it.
And that executing another warrant at the same time may have compromised Taylor's safety.
We treat safety very important, right? So, like, simultaneous warrants, bad business.
Narcotics officers...
Now, that's the SWAT. Let me just take it back. So remember how I said they radioed SWAT? And I was like, well, why didn't SWAT radio them to say that they got the man in custody? Well, they didn't know. Okay.
The SWAT commander who was called to Taylor's home after the raid was later interviewed by investigators.
We just got the feeling that night that something really bad happened.
Dale Massey, a 20-year police veteran, was highly critical of what unfolded. He said there was no coordination with SWAT.
We had no idea they were going to be at that apartment that night. I would have advised them 100% not to do it.
And that executing another warrant at the same time may have compromised Taylor's safety.
We treat safety very important, right? So, like, simultaneous warrants, bad business.
Narcotics officers testified that they didn't know Taylor had a new boyfriend, that her sister lived there, or that her 2-year-old goddaughter regularly stayed.
We treat safety very important, right? So, like, simultaneous warrants, bad business.
Narcotics officers testified that they didn't know Taylor had a new boyfriend, that her sister lived there, or that her 2-year-old goddaughter regularly stayed. Massey said the department had a history of poor intelligence gathering.
Back in the day, we would take a lot of detective information and take it as golden. Not anymore, because so often there's no kids, there's no dogs, we're told, there's kids and dogs. So we have an exhaustive recon process that we go through.
He said standing in the doorway, the fatal funnel, as Mattingly and Cosgrove had, was a tactical mistake.
Is it practical or is it even common for 3 people to be in what we consider the fatal funnel?
Absolutely not. No. You would never put, yourself in that situation.
And that there's a right way and a wrong way to conduct a raid. You knock, announce, and give people ample time to leave.
We're not going to rush in to get dope. We're not going to treat human life's more important than any amount of dope, right?
And just to be clear,
Modest, was it you that just said, one quick second, because I believe it was Modest that said, that could have hurt way more persons just for drugs. Wow. Let's go back to what he says. First off, he already says that their intel is not good. So we're talking about SWAT. And SWAT was probably who actually went in, which is why they asked, could we go in, which sounds real crazy. They didn't know that her sister lived there or her 2-year-old niece, regular or goddaughter. One said goddaughter, this says niece, I believe. But let's just listen.
Very important, right? So, like, simultaneous warrants, bad business.
Narcotics officers testified that they didn't know Taylor had a new boyfriend, that her sister lived there, or that her 2-year-old goddaughter regularly stayed. Massey said the department had a history of poor intelligence gathering.
Back in the day, we would take a lot of detective information and take it as golden. Not anymore, because so often there's no kids, there's no dogs, we're told, there's kids and dogs. So we have an exhaustive recon process that we go through.
He said standing in the...
You really can see... Hold on. Good job, Neil, because I didn't even see all of that. I saw one step, but... Wait.
take a lot of detective information and take it as golden, not anymore, because so often there's no kids, there's no dogs, we're told, there's kids and dogs. So we have an exhaustive recon process that we go through.
1, 2, 3.
Standing in the doorway, the fatal funnel, as Mattingly and Cosgrove had, was a tactical mistake.
Is it practical or is it even common for 3 people to be in what we consider the fatal funnel?
Absolutely not. No. You would never put, yourself in that situation.
And that there's a right way and a wrong way to conduct a raid. You knock, announce, and give people ample time to leave.
We're not going to rush in to get dope. We're not going to treat human life's more important than any amount of dope, right?
And just to be clear, no drugs were ever found at Taylor's.
Now, I put that up because you asked about it, but he said, and just to be clear, no drugs were ever found at Taylor's. Hey, what are we even breathing anymore? Because they are born and trained to behave this way. The worst ones are at the top sending out orders, is what I think. But he freaking knows he's on camera. Aisha, did you about the lady in Chicago where the police went into the lady's house and she was naked? I did not. So true. Officers do not trust intel. Bless up, Cindy. No drugs found. Absolutely none. Nell caught it. I didn't even see the other 2 steps. She said there were 3 steps. I didn't see them till just now. The same thing happened. The police raided a black lady's apartment. Well, Fox said they had drugs and guns. He had a gun in his license, registered. There were no drugs. And the Second Amendment right applies to black people as well. I have the right to bear arms. That was horrible. She was in the shower and 9 men in her house. Oh, Lordy.
No drugs were ever found at Taylor's. His harshest criticism was of Hankinson's blind shots into the apartment.
You have to know, A, what you're shooting at, B, what's in front of it, and B, what's behind it. There's no other way you can operate. It was just an egregious act.
Under Kentucky law, Kenneth Walker had a right to stand his ground against what he believed was an aggressor, and the police in turn have a right to self-defense. But in this analysis, the killing of Breonna Taylor resulted from poor planning compounded by reckless execution. Louisville has instituted police reforms, and Taylor's family received a substantial settlement. But the case isn't closed. Investigations and lawsuits are ongoing, and 9 months after Taylor was killed, her family is seeking a fresh inquiry into the officers involved.
So let's talk about the inconsistent witness. I'm concerned about the fact that his memory was foggy months later, although that's not it's not unheard of. But I would think something that traumatic would be ingrained in the fiber of his being. I also know that her ex-boyfriend, the person that they did arrest that night at a separate location, was offered a plea deal if he would say that Breonna Taylor was involved with drugs. And he said no, he was not going to lie on her like that. And he did not accept that deal. So here you have corruption on top of corruption, on top of some hearts that aren't they didn't see a man, they saw a monster. They did not see a man, they saw a monster. And the fact that they questioned him being afraid, you're scared, right? Why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't they said 40 police cars were already there, SWAT on the way. His girlfriend is in there dead. He's been on 911. Again, I didn't even play the 911 call. Y'all have to do this to yourself. I can't do that to you because I can't even do it to me anymore. Like, I can't. So I don't know. So let's talk about the reform. You said, why do I not see it as a systemic issue? So let me be clear. Do I think there is a systemic issue? I do. I absolutely do. I think the fact that male police officers can go to a home that a woman lives in alone is okay. That shouldn't be the case. Several religions are against that. Muslims being one. A Jehovah Witness being another. I want to say it's the Israelites or something like that. That's another. Like, men going to a woman's house in the middle of the night is not okay, period. Police or not, if it's not a dying matter. And the man, the officer, the SWAT officer himself stated, drugs over people, you always choose people. So there was no need for that. That was some botched up stuff that they're covering up that they just wanted to do that night, in my opinion. The way they treated him, again, not thinking he's supposed to be scared. Hurry up or I'll loose this dog on you. Did you get shot? No. That's unfortunate. For you to respond in such a sarcastic manner, it's because he was black. You're not going to tell me any different. And I don't care if he lays next to a black woman every night. He's fooling himself in her because he doesn't care. So is there a systemic issue? Yeah, it is. But also, let's pay attention to what we see. And that was a heart issue. They didn't see him as a human. There's a deeper understanding here. We're not sure of even the air we breathe, nor the consequences, our thinking or doing. Aisha, please look at the Chicago latest story. There was a video cam released to the public on social media. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm gonna look at it, Kimmy. Like, this today has taken me like to places that I don't want to be. And that sounds crazy. So what, do you go live in this fantasy world in your home? And no, because my home isn't safe. Anybody can come here, it seems, and I don't have a right to protect myself. And we see this. We saw it with Tatiana Jefferson. We've seen it here. And you're saying that it happened in Chicago. So when these things continuously manifest, they continuously get shown on TV, things are mixed up and misconstrued, as stated with Nell Court, how one news station said that there was drugs in a gun. Yeah, there was a gun. He's licensed to carry. And the fact that they locked him up. He went to jail. And then later in May, this happened in March. In May, the charges were dropped. It's quite a few people that need to be fired on that police force. Not just Mr. Hankinson. He was fired, which he's fighting, by the way. And he's charged for the bullets going into the white individual's home. But what about the people upstairs? Nobody's charged for that. It happened December 12th. I was camping. God probably knew I didn't need to see that 2 days after my mom's passing anniversary. And this has been a lot. Cops did it to me 6 years ago, but I'm not dead from it. 50 cops kicked my door in. I live alone. No charges in my case. That's not okay. White, black, or indifferent. It's not okay. I'm definitely sorry to hear that. It's not okay. But I still, again, don't see, when I'm looking at individuals, did you get shot? That's not a system. That's a man. No. That's unfortunate. The system didn't tell that man to say that. That man said that on his own. Billy Badass, which is probably nothing without a badge. Let's just be clear. It's probably nothing without a badge. He went to jail even though they had already arrested the one who they wanted. Absolutely. He went to jail because he shot the officer that he didn't know was an officer. Keep in mind, this man called 911. Help, someone has come into our home. My girlfriend, she's dying. She's dead. He called 911. The neighbors called 911. You can't tell me that these people announced themselves. They didn't. They did not. So let's go to the system trained and allows men to behave this way. The system trained, yes, allows men to behave this way, possibly. But what I do know is that many of them come with their own mindsets anyway. Again, white, black, or indifferent. The way that you're raised, your core, which is what I talked about the other day, your core just doesn't let you do some things, period. Your core doesn't let you say to a man, did you get shot? No, that's unfortunate. What? Why? Why was it unfortunate? So that says to me it's fortunate that she's dead. One more video that I want to share.
Two anonymous grand jurors identified as juror number 1 and juror number 2 speaking out for the first time in an exclusive interview with CBS This Morning, Gayle King, say they were never given the choice to consider homicide charges in the case against the Louisville police officers who served a no-knock warrant at Taylor's home during a March narcotics raid.
They didn't give us the charges up front when they gave us all of that testimony over 20-something hours, and then to say that these are the only charges.
Grand juror number 1, who is white, told King that he thought the officer's actions the night Taylor was shot and killed were criminal. Grand juror number 2, who is black, says the officer's actions were negligent.
You don't need 7 cops to go up to somebody's door and knock on it and say, we're here to do an investigation at 1 o'clock in the morning. They kept going downhill from there. It was one mistake right after the other one, right after the other one.
In that March raid, officers served a no-knock warrant to enter the home looking for Taylor's ex-boyfriend. Believing this was a home invasion, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, says he fired one shot. The officers responded by returning fire that ultimately killed the 27-year-old.
It was a mess. It didn't seem to me that there was any organization or almost any leadership
No officers were charged directly with Taylor's death, but Officer Brett Hankinson was fired and charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing into an apartment next door. A judge ruled to allow the grand jurors to speak publicly on the high-profile case on October 20th. Out of the 12-member panel, the 2 men both agree that other charges could have been pursued against the officers. In the interview with King, the jurors revealed that they were never presented with the option to consider higher charges like murder or manslaughter.
Never gave us the opportunity to deliberate on anything but the charges for Hankinson. That was it.
The jurors say they wanted to speak publicly following the press conference held by Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron on September 23rd.
There are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law. These charges are not applicable to the facts before us.
First time I heard the word 6 possible murder charges was in that news conference.
In the end, both men believe Walker's story was more credible than the police officers.
There are too many inconsistencies in their story. Now I understand that, in a situation like that, you may not remember, but I didn't find their testimony credible.
For Spectrum News 1, I'm Brennan Gurley.
So what do you do when they're not credible? You don't find what they're saying credible. Very sad. So just like in Ireland, we begin with the moms to change our society. Please help me understand that. See, from the top up is systemic. Yeah, so the district attorney needs to be fired for not giving the grand jury all of their options. I'm very happy that they are getting a fresh investigation. I want to know, why is Hankinson charged for bullets going through, recklessly going through the apartment of the white family, but the other 2 officers aren't charged for the reckless bullets going into the ceiling? Because what we do know is this was reckless to start with. So anything that happened, they all need to be accountable for. The $12 million that her family received doesn't bring her back. The fact that they weren't told that there were 6 possible murder charges that could have been brought forth, again, is concerning to me. That is a form of corruption that needs to be dealt with. I went to see what reformed that they put in place. I'm sorry. Oh, awesome. Need to hold someone accountable. Absolutely. June the 11th, the city banned no-knock warrants, which for me, I'm still confused by that. You're telling me that you knocked, although it was a no-knock, no announce warrant, but you're lying saying you said police. You knocked, but you didn't announce. Like, the officers, they're not believable. I'm sorry. And I don't know, I'm not sorry. They're not believable. Walker, I agree, testimony is the one that seems the most credible. They got a new police chief. The mayor, I meant to research him because I got a funny feeling about this mayor. I think he came from somewhere else because that name, but I just didn't dig into that. There's a new requirement that body cameras are worn during the execution of search warrants, which I don't understand how that's a new requirement when in fact by them not having one on, they were in violation of police policy. All of them were. So all 7 of them should be fired for that, period. And then one of the things that I do like is they are or created the establishment of a civilian review board for policy and disciplinary matters with officers. My only concern about that board, though, is it should not include ex-officers or ex-military. Why do you say that? Because it needs to include true civilians who are looking at things for what they are, not for what you think they are in that moment, for not for what they can feel like in that moment, not for how hard things can be in that moment. Like, it needs to be a fresh set of eyes. I don't understand why the United States have this many police brutality issues. I don't get it. And it's the United States. Like, check other countries. They ain't got these type of problems. They don't have these type of problems. I think I'm at my end. Just want to make sure. So far, Hankerson is the only person that has been charged for anything. My prayer is that this new investigation turns up that more people are charged. There was a statue, like a memorial in Oakland, California, I think, and someone vandalized it and tore up the sculpture, and it was a sculpture of her, smashed it into several pieces. Let's see. Since the national demonstration over police brutality and systemic racism that began in late May, Louisville officials have banned the use of no-knock warrants, which allow the police to forcibly enter people's homes to search them without warning. And in late June, fired Detective Hankinson, finding that he'd shown an extreme indifference to the value of human life. He was not the only one that showed an extreme indifference to the value of human life. For months, and this is the New York Times, Taylor's family pleaded for justice, pushing for criminal charges against the other officers. It actually happened in March. She started getting attention in May. In September, they settled with the family for $12 million. And a wrongful death suit that was brought forth by her mother, and to institute reforms aimed at preventing future deaths by officers, which is what I shared with you. Still, critics say progress in this case has been slow, especially when compared with police killing in May. Don't really want to talk about that one. Just want to stick to where we are. At this point, it's bigger than Breonna. It's bigger than just Black Lives. Miss Taylor, which is Breonna's mother. We've got to figure out how to fix the city and how to heal. Okay. I'm going to read this because it talks about it from his Mr. Taylor's perspective. Give me one quick second. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna read this real quick. Then floor is open. So, what happened in Louisville? Shortly after midnight on March 13th, Louisville police officers executing a search warrant used a battering ram to enter the apartment of Miss Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician. The police had been investigating two men who they believed were selling drugs out of a house that was far from Mrs. Taylor's home. But a judge had also signed a warrant allowing the police to search Miss Taylor's residence because the police said they believed that one of the men had used her apartment to receive packages. Miss Taylor had been dating that man on and off for several years, but had recently severed ties with him, according to her family's lawyer. Miss Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, had been in bed, but got up when they heard a loud banging at the door. Mr. Walker said he and Miss Taylor both called out, asking who was at the door. Mr. Walker later told the police he feared it was Miss Taylor's ex-boyfriend trying to break in. After the police broke the door off its hinges, Mr. Walker fired his gun once, striking Sergeant Mattingly in the thigh. The police responded by firing several shots, striking Miss Taylor 5 times, which we know that in the other article it said 6 or 7. I can't remember. Detective Hankinson, who has since been fired, shot 10 rounds blindly into the apartment. They all shot blindly into the apartment. Mr. Walker told investigators that Miss Taylor coughed and struggled to breathe for at least 5 minutes after she was shot, according to the Louisville Courier Journal. An ambulance on standby outside the apartment had been told to leave about an hour before the raid, counter to standard practice. I'm going to share this because definitely needs to change. But I want to share this because I want you guys to see this. This is crazy. An ambulance on standby outside the apartment had been told to leave about an hour before the raid, counter to standard practice. As officers called an ambulance back to the scene and struggled to render aid to their colleague, Miss Taylor was not given any medical attention. It was not until 12:47 a.m., about 5 minutes after the shooting, that the emergency personnel realized she was seriously wounded after her boyfriend called 911. I don't know what's happening, Mr. Walker said on a recorded call to 911. Someone kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. Miss Taylor received no medical attention for more than 20 minutes after she was struck, citing dispatch logs. The Jefferson County coroner told the Courier Journal that Miss Taylor most likely died less than a minute after she was shot and could not be saved. While the department had received court approval for a no-knock entry, the orders were changed before the raid to knock and announce, meaning that the police had to identify themselves. The officers have said they did announce themselves, but Mr. Walker said he did not hear anything. No drugs were found in the apartment, a lawyer for Mr. Walker said. Jamarcus Glover, Mrs. Taylor's ex-boyfriend, whose alleged packages led the police to her door that night, was arrested on August 27th. Am I missing something? was arrested on August 27th in possession of in possession of drugs, according to a charging document. He told the Courier Journal that Miss Taylor had no involvement in the drug trade. The police are trying to make it out to be my fault and turning the whole community out here, making it look like I brought this to Breonna's door, he said. Miss Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, said her daughter had big dreams and planned a lifelong career in healthcare serving as an EMT. She was a better version of me, Miss Palmer said, a dialysis technician, full of life, easy to love. Breonna was a woman who was figuring everything out in her life, who had turned a corner, said Sam Aguiar, I guess is how you pronounce it, a lawyer representing Miss Taylor's family. Breonna was starting to live her best life. Is the police account disputed? Yes, hotly. Miss Taylor's relatives and their lawyers say that the police never identified themselves before entering, despite their claims. They also say that Mr. Walker was licensed to carry a gun. And Mr. Walker, 27, has said that he feared for his life and fired in self-defense, believing that someone was trying to break into the home. He didn't know these were police officers, and they found no drugs in the apartment. None, said Rob Eggart, Mr. Walker's lawyer. He was scared for his life and her life. In a 911 call just after the shots were fired, Mr. Walker told a dispatcher that somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. The police's incident report contained multiple errors. It listed Mrs. Taylor's injuries as none, even though she had been shot several times, and indicated that officers had not forced their way into the apartment, though they used a battering ram to break the door open. Mrs. Taylor's family also said it was outrageous that the police felt it necessary to conduct the raid in the middle of the night. Their lawyers say the police had already located the main suspect in the investigation by the time they burst into the apartment, but they then proceeded to spray gunfire into the residence with a total disregard for the value of human life, according to the wrongful death lawsuit filed by Taylor's mother. There was no body camera footage from the raid, and for now, prosecutors have said they had dismissed the charges against Mr. Walker, adding that they would let investigations into the killing run their course before making any final decisions. So basically, you've dismissed it for now, but his life is still in the balance. Unacceptable. Some legal experts said the fact that prosecutors dropped charges after a grand jury indictment suggested that they may have doubts about their version of events told by police. So here's another piece. Has there been a fallout? And this is kind of where I'm gonna hang my hat. Give me one quick second. Because I want to. I should have highlighted it. Okay. Some, even aside from the continuing protests, on June 23rd, the Louisville Metro Police Department released a letter of termination that it sent to Mr. Hankinson, the officer who blindly fired 10 rounds into a covered patio door and a window, according to the termination letter. Chief Robert Schroeder, I guess, accused Mr. Hankinson of violating the police department's policy on the use of deadly force, saying his actions were a shock to the conscience that discredited the police department. All of their actions were. Also, city officials banned the no-knock warrant, which is what I said. Okay. Sergeant Mattingly sued Mr. Walker for assault and battery in a court document filed on October 29th. Counsel for Sergeant Mattingly said he should be entitled to compensatory damages for the medical treatment, trauma, physical pain, and mental anguish he experienced as a result of the night Miss Taylor died. Stephen Romines, Mr. Walker's lawyer, said those charges were baseless. So Sergeant Mattingly is trying to sue Mr. Walker for defending himself. Last time I checked, they need a judge to sign a warrant first. Absolutely. And that's the judge did. I'm going to drop the link. If anybody wants to come up, if you don't, trust me, I understand because it's a lot. I said, let's talk about it. But in all honesty, what are we talking about? And I'm not trying to sound negative but what are we talking about? To say change starts with the moms. Okay, so it has to be the moms of white people. And that may sound so harsh because in this situation, the black people weren't doing anything wrong. And so I don't know. Like I said at the beginning of this, I don't know what I could say to make this any different than what has already been said. Of course, uncovering more information and actually seeing what happened makes it all the more frustrating. Seeing that one family is also being compensated for their the bullets going through their what do you call it, y'all? The walls, but the family upstairs is not, knowing that one is white, other is black. I got questions. I'm just sorry. I got questions. I'm not sorry. I got questions. It's so much. Like, it is so much. None of them, every last one of them. The woman that said, I don't give a F. The guy that said you're scared, right? The guy who was holding the dog, the guy that twisted up his arm, the guy that said you're going to F in prison. That's what's going on. The guy, like, there are so many people that's in that place that's on those cameras that need to be out of the police force, period. Hold on. Let me check one quick thing. I'm trying. Hold on. I want to see which officer pulled the gun
safely and without incident.
I'm sorry.
About how this raid was compromised from beginning. Sued.
Okay, there's another hole right below the cloth.
And we'll explore.
I'm sorry, y'all.
There are dozens of SWAT and police cameras, and they carry out the raid safely.
I'll share it with you just so y'all can see.
What the SWAT team doesn't know is that at this time, a hastily assembled team of narcotics officers is about to raid Taylor's home across town. They suspect her ex-boyfriend keeps drugs there, but their intel is poor. They don't know she has a new boyfriend, and they think she lives alone. When 7 officers begin the raid at 12:40 a.m., they notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom. First thing they know where Taylor is. In less than 3 minutes, she would be fatally shot. Inside, Taylor had dozed off, and the apartment's entrance is in this breezeway. The only light is this lamp opposite her door, where now the police begin to stack. In this reconstruction, we hear the official testimonies given by the 2 officers nearest the door, Mattingly and Nobles, Cosgrove, who's providing cover, and Hoover and Hankinson beside them. And we'll hear from neighbors and Kenneth Walker, who was interviewed by police right after the shooting.
When we all got up in line,
I knocked on the door, banged on it.
Just as Mattingly begins to knock, a man emerges from the apartment directly above. He doesn't live there, but is picking up his child after finishing work.
The door right there, that's why the babysit on me. So I can go pick up my little girl.
A squabble with Detective Brett Hankerson ensues, and already the team seems on edge.
I remember Brett extending his gun saying, get back in your apartment, get back in your apartment. Brett was a little bit worked up. I remember looking at Brett saying, Brett, relax. Brett.
Just wanted to make sure that I saw what I thought I saw, which was Mr. Hankerson. Hey, Jan the Best. Thank you for coming in. Mr. Hankerson is Brett, and Brett is who pulled the gun also on the man upstairs who was picking up his daughter after work. He was already on edge. So is that the only reason why he's been charged and the others are not? But then you also have an officer that says he just knows that he saw fire, the weapons being exchanged. The fire being exchanged. But if you had told him that he didn't shoot, he would believe you. Like, if trained personnel isn't supposed to act a particular way, or they get a pass, what was Mr. Walker supposed to do? Like, I don't see how this could have ended any other way than for it to not have happened at all. It should not have happened. The SWAT commander says it should not have happened. You have the officer on video saying this is the effing one they said that they did not need us to go to. Why are these 7 people not charged with something? How do you get to just go and be a rogue cop, a rogue team? I don't know. I wish I had like this beautiful speech. Literally my shirt, because y'all know I do this. My shirt says unity, equality, love. I believe this. Like, this is what I believe. Real talk. No ifs, ands, buts about it. I believed it before I watched this. I believed it after I watched this. I do not hate every white person. I don't hate the white people that did this. Do I think they need to be locked up? Yep, I do. Do I think they need to be fired without pension, without benefits? Absolutely. Absolutely. But to tell me that you're going to charge Mr. Hankerson for firing into an apartment and endangering a white family, basically, and Crossgrove and Mattingly didn't act recklessly and endanger the black family upstairs, that's a problem. The man being memory being foggy, I can understand, but at the same time, I'm struggling with that because that was such a traumatic events. You remember them like from beginning to end. You can tell the same story over and over and over and over and over again. You hear everything. You remember everything that happened in that moment because someone ordered them to be there. Yeah. But the question is still, if it's a systemic issue, how do we fix it? It's a human issue. How do we fix it? Like, seriously, do we need to create some form of testing to determine if people see people as people, or if people only see certain people as people and other people are these big monsters? Like, to see this man, you're pointing a freaking rifle at him. There's 40, according to this thing, SWAT cars out there. He tells you, I'm scared, and your response is, you're scared? Right. I don't have anything positive. I don't have a bounce back. I don't have a kumbaya. I don't. All I have is the facts that were just presented. And until something changes, I don't know. I don't know. But the fact that I can't feel safe in my own home, you tell me just December 12th. A lady in Chicago was raided while in the shower. So they had the wrong house. And they handcuffed an innocent, naked woman. Oh my God. It's implicit bias, absolutely. I think we need more Black people policing our communities, absolutely. I don't they will ever see us as human. That makes me sad. We don't have a quick fix. What I noticed, some new companies need these types of stories to scare Black people to death is sad to know. Very disheartening. News media needs these type of stories to scare Black people. Absolutely, it can't. Cindy, 100. Fear cannot control the masses. Because here's the thing. Fear ensues fight or flight. I ain't running from nobody at my own house. I'm not going to run from anybody and it's protecting me. I'm going to protect me. They did not. No. I'm going to give me one quick second. Y'all.
Police raided the wrong apartment and detained an innocent woman. An investigation by our Chicago station, that's WBBM TV, uncovered the video, which we have to tell you is very hard to watch. Police tried to withhold it, and city officials tried to keep you from even seeing it. Anjanette Young, who was getting changed at the time, sued the city of Chicago over the botched effort to arrest a suspect who actually lived next door. Nearly 2 years after the incident, a judge forced Chicago police to turn over video of this raid. Dave Sabini of WBBM TV
Honey,
historian spoke with Ms. Young.
This was 2 years ago. This didn't even just happen. Did y'all catch that? This was 2 years ago. I'm sorry. I need to read the description. This happened in February of 2019. So they're right, nearly 2 years ago.
Disturbing body camera footage reveals how Chicago police raided the wrong apartment and detained an innocent woman. An investigation by our Chicago station, that's WBBM TV, uncovered the video, which we have to tell you is very hard to watch. Police tried to withhold it, and city officials tried to keep you from even seeing it. Anjanette Young, who was getting changed at the time, sued the city of Chicago over the botched effort to arrest a suspect who actually lived next door. Nearly 2 years after the incident, a judge forced Chicago police to turn over video of this raid. Dave Savini of WBBM TV broke the story and spoke with Ms. Young as she watched the body cam footage.
I had just gotten home from work, and while I was undressing in my bedroom,
Ann Jeanette Young, a social worker, had just finished her shift at the hospital when police entered her home.
and it happened so fast, I didn't have time to put on clothes.
She was surrounded by 12 male officers.
And I'm just standing there. I mean, terrified, humiliated, not even understanding why in that moment that this is happening to me.
Almost immediately, Young is handcuffed.
If I had made one wrong move, I felt like they would have shot me. I truly believe that they would have shot me.
A police officer wraps a short coat around her shoulder, still leaving her front fully exposed. Eventually, one of the officers holds a blanket in place.
You need to tell me what you're looking for. It felt like forever for me. It felt like forever.
Young tells the raid team at least 43 times they are in the wrong place.
You got the wrong house. You got the wrong house.
She was right. They were in the wrong house. WBBM's investigation uncovered police simply took the word of an informant who said a felon with a handgun lived in the apartment.
I've been living here for 4 years and nobody lives here but me.
You don't have to shout. I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Aisha is done because I've reached my limit. I hear the rich talk about it though, and I see it work. What is it that the rich talk about? Fear can control the masses. Yeah, no, no. And the rich do talk about it, but let's be clear. Fear may control. Yeah. It's possible I don't even want to debate that one. I agree with Kamon. The media is promoting a race war so that we don't focus on the wealthy stealing from us. We need to focus on rich versus poor. This has to stop. Protecting these people 2 freaking years. Exactly. Why do we see it after 2 freaking years? The video was released this year, December 12th. That happened in February. So almost 2. Hi, Rainbell. Thank you, babe. Happy New Year to you as well. And black men too busy chasing white tail rather than protecting us from this horrible oppression. No one protects black women except us. I will say that black women are considered the least protected individuals on the planet. I mean, their dogs are treated better than us. This hurts to watch because I went through this too, and if I moved, they would have shot me and my daughter. And I believe you, Cindy. Like I do. Oh, you're fine, my Kimmy. I'm just. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have no answers. I don't have any answers. I don't have anything different to say on this. The only thing that I can ask is that we know this is wrong. We know what happened to Breonna Taylor is wrong. I wish I would have done more research on how to. It definitely hurts. It hurts. This hurts. It hurts. It hurts. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You're fine. Sometimes, Cindy, I hate my compassion. I hate my compassion. I hate my ability to have empathy. Sometimes I hate it. Um, I get frustrated with it because I know that if I didn't believe in a world of unity, my skills, my intelligence, my wisdom would truly be used for a greater good in my community where I'm on the offensive and defensive end trying to protect solely my people. But you're my people. I have my family is multicultural. My family is diverse. There's no my family, I'm Black. Of course, I'm Black. But I don't just have a Black family. My family is multicultural. My family is diverse. My family multi-generational, multi-ethnic. We're a melting pot. So I don't get to hate anybody. I get to hate actions, but I don't get to hate anybody. My family is filled with police officers, both white and Black, Hispanic. Family is filled with firefighters. Family filled with uh, military. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I agree, Nail Court. I agree. One love, Cindy. Unity has to happen. And that's why I get so frustrated when we tear each other down. Why? Like, why do we do that when we already have so much stacked against us? Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, it makes no sense to me why we struggle with uplifting each other. And now I'm just talking, like, I know that this is a diverse group, but I'm just talking to Black women right now. Why is it so hard for us to come together, to lift each other up, to be there for each other, to encourage each other? Why? Look what the world thinks of us. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't know that I'll ever get it. And guess what, Cindy? You should be able to celebrate your whiteness without me feeling inferior or superior to you. I should be able to celebrate my Blackness without you feeling inferior or superior to me. Because at the end of the day, we're both humans. It's the mentality. We don't know any better. It's getting better, but we still have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. Because for me, these last, let me just say that the world that I see now is not the world that I grew up in. And so imagine being this adult who's seeing some things that I didn't see as a kid, like wondering, was I sheltered? Am I confused? Like so the world really, and I'm in the South. Like, I'm in the South. So I should see. Why have I spent my life trying to be friends with Black women and be shut down? I don't understand that either. In nail court, it's nothing. Oh, how can I say that? No, because what I'm not gonna do, because like this is a moment right here where I could make apologies, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. I can't make apologies for anybody else. I know that here I've treated you like family. I enjoy talking to you. I genuinely love you in Llama. I love that you come with all of the questions. I love that you ask what some would say are hard questions or even think are um, disrespectful questions, but they're not. I know your heart and I know you want to understand. So I don't mind having that dialogue with you. Like, I don't ever want you to feel like you're excluded from my world because you're not. However, I can't rewrite history and neither can you. The only thing that we can do is decide on how we're going to move going forward. And one, that's by not stereotyping each other and putting everybody in one pot together. There's no way that I can, I'm sorry, y'all. There's no way that I can, I need tissue because I was starting on. There's no way that I can hug and love on my coach who's like a father to me and who's a white man and say that I don't like white people. It's not possible. It's not possible. So it is a heart issue, but you got to get those people out of those positions, period. The way they treated that man like he was not a man. Maybe that's why I stop you from putting yourself down. You need to love yourselves. Oh, I love me. That's the other thing. I love me. I love me. And that's why today I was like, I didn't notice that I put myself down. I don't give myself superior credit. I don't come across as, I don't try to come across as perfect, but I definitely don't have a problem with letting people know I'm not perfect. I am an imperfect person that is loved by a perfect God. I'm imperfect. I'm human. I just did a whole fat F bomb and I can't take it back. I can go and edit it out, but for what? Why? The world will never have enough love. You were sheltered. Was I? Was I? I don't know. Because if this is what my family looks like, I can't change what my family looks like. I can't change my family dynamic. You are the first. Well, this is a start. This is a start. Very hard topic. But again, this platform is for the hard, the uncomfortable but necessary conversations. Very hard topic. But it's nothing that I can just settle. It's nothing that you can just settle. It's gonna take unity for real, for real. And I don't know what that looks like. I'm just gonna be honest. I've spent the last 5 years at a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-generational church intentionally, making sure that my children had even diverse religion, because I said the most segregated time in America is Sunday mornings. So I've done all I know how to do. But some of this has to go back. Let me read Jan's comment. Nelcourt, I think that's because of our history. Black women stood with the 1920s movement, but were shunned afterwards. Absolutely. Been tension between the two groups of women since then. Absolutely. I won't exclude you either. Possibly Jan the best. I love everything that God created, but not everyone doesn't love us back, people. I'm gonna pray positive changes in the future. Actually, I mean, we have no choice but to continue to pray and do our best efforts. I've been treated like dirt. I recognize it when I see it everywhere. And here's the thing. I love you too much, so I stop you. I'm praying for a positive change in the future. I agree. Yes, you and positive give me hope and help my heart. And that's what you got to hang your head on. Um because we've all had, I'm sure, some encounters. Um y'all, I ain't got it. I don't have the answers. I don't have the Jan, the best is, I don't think everyone needs to be lovey-dovey, but everyone needs to be equal. We don't hate each other as much as we think. It's the media spinning that narrative. I just sent a beautiful screen shot of you and Coach. I love Coach. I mean, he's a dad to me. Jan, the best, I agree. Like, I'm the first one to tell you that this whole black on black crime is a myth. That does not exist. Like, I wish people would stop saying it. It doesn't exist. Crime is within proximity. So if you live in a predominantly black neighborhood, if you live in a predominantly white neighborhood, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't have an answer. So tonight's live was, hopefully I brought awareness in a little more light to the Breonna Taylor situation. There are several yeah, I can't even think. My brain is just petitions that you can sign. They are starting up. Hey, twin, it's okay. Thank you for coming in. There are several petitions out. They are restarting. They're gonna do this whole investigation process over again. One thing that we can do is stay vigilant, and we saw it here tonight. Like, I'll make sure it won't happen tonight, because like I'm done for tonight. But I'll try to remember tomorrow to add the links. But it was the New York Times visual that I used on tonight to show how things were executed. It was their documentary that broke things down. It's the New York Times. It wasn't the New York Times. I have to find the other. It was CBS that had the Gayle King that interviewed the two grand jurors. One was a black man, one was a white man. And they both felt that they didn't have enough information, but they did feel that charges should have gone forth. So prayerfully, we can see some charges in this, because y'all, yeah, and we gotta stay vigilant. Like, that's for real. Like, we can't just talk about it. We got to be about it. And it shouldn't just be me because I'm a black woman. Every white woman that has watched this with me tonight and that has gone step by step with me on this tonight, whether you've come in it or been in the clouds or are on Facebook and not YouTube, do something, sign something, contact somebody. That girl just being on a mural or being painted is not enough. her name and her face on a t-shirt is not enough. It was 5 months in one day between her being shot in her home, a place where she's supposed to be safe, and a Tatiana Jefferson being shot in her home, a place where she's supposed to be safe. And they were both Black women. There's no reason that with the intel that those officers had, knowing she lived alone, that 7 male officers should have gone to her house in the middle of the night simply for drugs. The SWAT officer said it himself. So it's time that we take their words, their laws, and make them pay. And the only reason why they're continuing to get away is because we don't say enough. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about people that look like me. I'm talking about the people that also say that they love me just because I'm me and they look different than me. It requires unity. It requires us standing together. And sometimes it's going to require someone white standing in front saying, stop. Enough is enough. I agree. Now, of course, this is if everyone in chat can just give us white people a chance to be open for change. Art reflects the conscience of our society and is changing because we never had Black women on t-shirts before. And of course, there's so many amazing Black women that could be put on t-shirts. I have orders coming in with Maxine Waters on them, Lena Horne. We got Felicia Rashad. There are so many amazing, Jill Scott. There are so many amazing Black women that can be put on a shirt. It doesn't have to be one whose life was taken while she was in her home. Yeah. 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 Whew. So with that being said, y'all, I'm worth nothing. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'll be the first to tell you, always be the change that you want to see. It starts with me. But it's just one me. Katonio, you are not finna make me cry. Not gonna make me cry. But what I am gonna tell you is stay strong. Know that the world is Jan the best. Absolutely. And if you're still here, my question would be, what would you say to this young man? This is a young man. This is a young man that literally sat through this entire presentation, watched it. He has feelings about it. What would you say? I just encourage you, Katonia, to continue doing what you can. Thank God that you have a father in your life. Be the change that you want to see. Start now. You don't have to wait until you're an adult. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna leave it on this note. Neil, I say to God be the glory. You don't ever have to thank me for my love. I just thank you for coming in. I thank you for coming in. I thank you for being vocal, engaging, and affirming, and supportive, because I needed it. I needed it. So with that being said, y'all, yeah, I love you guys. I want you guys to have, try to have a restful night. Catonio, know that this is not what your future has to be. Know that we are, my generation, and some of those that are ahead of you are truly working to have a better environment for you. And we are planting seeds of hope, seeds of change. Things are getting better. Yeah. Thanks. Have a peaceful evening too, at Jen the Best. You're not alone. That's for sure. Love you, twin. I love you too. And I'll tell Dre hi as well. I love you, Nail Court. I look forward to seeing some of your work. Bless. Good night, everyone. Continue to listen to your parents. Pray and continue to do what you think is right in life. You are valued. And if you don't walk away with nothing, Catonio, that's the piece that I want you to walk away with. Is what Motivate One just said. Son, you are valued. We care. The people in this chat care. You're valued. You matter. Your life matters. Your life matters. So keep, Motivate One said, just continue to listen to your parents. Pray. Continue to do what you think is right in life. You are valued. And on that note, that's the best sign off I can give tonight. You all are valued. But Catonio, I want you to know that you are valued. You are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tonight. Sending lots of love, joy, peace, happiness, blessings your way. Y'all, good night. Remember, you're responsible for your own happiness. And tonight I pray that everybody that encounters this video or that has watched this video, that God gives us a burning fire for change, that he gives us a remedy, a solution, a formula, something for a change, something that is different, and that just showing this and going through this tonight isn't in vain, that from it change will ensue. Y'all, I thank y'all. I love y'all, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. Have an amazing night. I'm going to have a good night, son. And you do the same. Yeah. Good night, y'all.